Go there. Okay. Yep, that's me. You're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation. Under the shine of a dark atomic sun with a black polygon policeman to my left and a grenade at my feet, well, that's about to explode. Well, it all started a few days ago when I decided to open up Stream and play Into the Radius. Cigarette. Well, one isn't gonna kill me. Another day, another run to Probiotic Factory. Oh, hi there. Now would normally be the part where I would rhetorically ask, what is Into the Radius? And then explain it. But I'm going to refrain from directly copying Habby147, so I'm going to do my best not to commit the greatest form of flattery. Instead, I'm just going to slightly commit flattery. But yeah, to you, Into the Radius might just look like another VR game. But it isn't just Job Simulator with a gun. You like my stapler? I have a stapler, I don't remember what color it is. And while this bland, gray, and low saturation world that looks like a snapshot from HBO's Chernobyl doesn't look like it, it is in my opinion one of, if not the best VR game I've ever played. Now I'll be clear, I haven't played the Razzie Award-worthy Fallout VR, nor the God-tier-worthy religious-like experience that is Skyrim VR with 300 plus mods. But I would say I am a VR gamer. Sure, I've never played on an HTC Vive, for the three boomers who remember what that system is. But I did own an original CV1 Oculus Rift that the Zuck pulled the support on way too early, and I have a lot to say about that. But for the sake of the blood vessels in my brain, I'll save that rant for another time. But yeah, I played a lot of VR, or well, I did till October of 23. Then I fucked up my hands and only a month and a half ago recovered enough to play again. But I've played a lot of VR games over the last, 7 years. So many, in fact, I'm just gonna fill the screen with all of them to show you them now. And out of all of them, these are the only ones I feel that come close to the Warcraft tier time-wasting I experienced with Into the Radius. And as much as I love H3 VR, which I have almost as many hours in, H3 is just a gun sandbox with some interesting game modes, but not really a full-fledged game. And I love Alex's immersivity, but the gameplay is just good. Again, if I ever played Todd's Neglected Children, I would no doubtably compare them to this. But to me, Into the Radius has a similar but more grayscaled Soviet immersivity, closer to Alex, with 85% of the gunplay from H3. Now, what is the radius and Into the Radius? Now, normally a radius is defined as a line segment that joins the center to the boundary of a circle and is used for a bunch of real-world stuff, like machining, gun making, rocket science. But the radius and Into the Radius is this. A giant orange rim-lighted black hole of despair that is visible on all but one map of the game besides your main base. But this goth, Slavic cousin to the Death Star is the literal center of the main story in this game. Why is it here? How was it created? What lies at its center? And spoiler, we never get an answer. And nor should we, because that's the Russian way. I will not explain that. Moving on. Now the gameplay of Into the Radius is, well, it's nice. Minimal jank. Moving with the stick feels good, not much to say, but what really shines is the gunplay. I've played VR games with guns, I've played VR games about guns, and while H3 VR is the better gun sim, Radius, which is what I will call it from now on so it's not a mouthful, is best gun game. in my opinion. And yes, I'm saying it's better than the gunplay in Boneworks. Fight me. It's just perfect. The guns, while they don't have any visual weight or haptic feedback... Wait, do they? Hold on, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go check. Okay, so there is haptic feedback. You know, some clever stuff like when your hand's over your gun, it will vibrate a bit to let you know you're over it. But firing, I can't really tell with a pistol round, but at least with larger caliber rifles, there's a bit. I don't know if that's just how it's set on Oculus controllers, or maybe my controllers themselves, but I'm glad to see that there is no object weight, so you can shake your long as fuck SVD with a 12-inch suppressor like a bad Gmod collision glitch with one hand. Now that may sound like a bad thing, but it really isn't. While yes, it is cool in Boneworks, all the guns have realistic weight and are physics enabled, does that really make it better? Realistic? I mean, a bit, but while yes, I have to move my hands around faster to account for momentum since that AR-15 is heavy, I can't feel the weight in VR. You can't physically put that 6.55 pounds of weight in my hands. So while it may not look realistic on screen how I can do this, it feels great. And you're not normally doing this. And I can't really explain how good it feels to shoot in this game, like from the pistols, to the rifles, to even the submachine guns. For those of you who play VR and haven't played this, the best I can say is that this feels like H3 VR Lite. And that extends to the guns themselves. Now the guns, I'll go fast for time's sake, put it simply,
nice.
Everything from the 3D models to the ammo variety, and while the customization is really janky, hey, it's there. And these sights and scopes,
nice.
And to cap it all off, these customizable guns, with up to 4 different ammo types by the way, with the most buttery smooth gunplay I've seen outside of Anton's Sandbox, have durability. Oh, that's not that special, so you have to replace them. No. You have to repair them. And if you don't, they start to jam, and then stop working entirely. And in order to prevent that, you have to regularly clean your guns, or pay a hefty fee to repair them. Like a very familiar game. Very dear game. That our Lord and sometimes Destructor Todd Howard regularly shuns. That's right. Just like... Still, I've played a good few VR games, and while there have been other VR games that I would say are worthy of being called games, this is by far one of the few games I've played that I would call a full-fledged game, with progression, and isn't just a 40-minute long sandbox or tech demo with Rick Sanchez in it.
He beat his wife. I made a Morty clone, Morty. Come give me one, big boy.
Or a way to simulate Vietnam-era armaments with hats and grenades. I love this game. I love the exploration, the atmosphere. After a while, I started to find myself moving around the game like I was a real stalker. Oh wait, I mean, explorer. Yeah, let's stay copyright ambiguous. But I was moving from building to building. Sniper mimics, not even a sweat. Picking up loot, not caring about the weight drag since I knew it was gonna come home easy peasy. And I started to ask myself, was the fear just wearing off? Was that fear I felt in those first few hours gone? Was VR just a cheap gimmick to hide the cracks in a AA game? Well, I was asking myself that until I started the new save for stream.
I'm gonna fully immerse myself in the Russian atmosphere. Instead of, I'm gonna watch Family Guy. Instead of on the CRT, on the black and white CRT. Instead of saying, "Hey Peter," I'm gonna say, "Привет, Peter." That was way funnier in my head.
And while not nearly as scary as it was, being back at low levels really does slap the fear of death back into you. And let me talk about enemies for a minute. I have no segue. There are a few enemies in this game. You got your tumbleweeds, shamblers, but your bread and butter are gonna be the mimics since they shoot at you. But 70 hours into the game, nothing scares me. Well, almost nothing. Even now, as a fairly experienced player, there are 2 enemies that still scare me. In fact, I don't even know if the second one can be really classified as an enemy since you can't kill it. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Meet the Slider. Now this guy is fairly scary already. Tall, dark, and reality distorting. I have no clue why he has that halo, but that's not what's scary about him. He does this. He slides, stretching and breaking his model like an aspiring SFM filmmaker experimenting in 2008. And just as you begin to question if this is a glitch, he teleports a good bit closer to you. And he does this until he reaches you, and then does what I still think is an overly massive amount of damage. So when I start to hear that sound, yeah, I freak out. But there is one more. BTR. I fear no man. But that thing, it scares me. It only works on one map, which happens to be the one map you can't see the radius. It has a set patrol route, which is only in the middle of the map. But even with such knowledge, do not fool yourself. You do not defeat the BTR. You avoid it. Whenever you hear those tires rumbling near, or see the flash of the spotlight, you hide. Or else. Now, there is a lot to this game. I wish I had more time to cover. I mean, there's a lot. A lot!
And the gas mask is more healthy than a... No! The Soviet... The party would never lie to me. The Soviet party only has my best interest at heart.
There's like 3 people who've dedicated their entire channels to this game, so, you know, go check them out. But still, for the price of this game, it's a lot of fun. It has some great paranoid driving vibes, and I still wish that there was a Twitch integration mod that would replace the Mimic's 5 repeating voice lines with ChatTTS. So if I edit this fast enough, you should be seeing this video Christmas Day or on the 26th, and the Steam sale is still going to be going on, and you should get it. Unless you watch this video like 4 months after the fact when the algorithm decides to stop hating me. Still, this is Clark, signing off.
The Soviet party only has my best interest at heart.